I just watched the Shayla and Anthony skit. This is what I mean. There's never no consequences. Why? Because people are so quick to apologize. The reason a lot of people don't deal with their consequences is because of the word apology and I'm sorry. The fact that every time Anthony, they get into an argument, they get into a fight, the first thing they do is apologize. The only reason you're apologizing is not because you're wrong, not because you want to make amends, not because you want to make it right, but because you want the drama to stop. Because you want the person to forget the whole entire situation, and because you don't want to talk about it. You want to evade, you want to avoid, you want to act like it didn't happen. So the best thing to do is apologize. That's why I do not take the word I'm sorry with nothing but a grain of salt. I do not believe a person when they say I'm sorry. As soon as you say I'm sorry, all it is you want to basically act like it didn't exist, not have the conversation no more, and that's it. But then it happens again and again and again and again and again. And Anthony and Shayla are going to constantly continue to fight, especially when Candace tells her that Anthony wanted her to help him get his wife back. Like I said, in the end, Amber and Anthony cannot get back together, but do I think they're going to put them back together? Yes. Do I think that he's still going to continue to mess with Shayla? Yep, we're going to be right back where we started. That's why people are not watching these skits, because they're seeing the same scenarios over and over and over again. Instead of seeing, Sonny move on from Mike and not getting involved with Mike, as soon as you lost your business, you should have cut him off. But yet, no, she's with him now when it comes to the trades. And now Amber's talking about how much she misses her husband, how she don't want to sleep alone. She can't get with Wayne because Wayne is in a whole nother relationship. So, like I said, that's why they should have never brought up the green card situation in the first place. But that's what they did. That way, Amber could have been with Victor. She could have gotten to know Victor, and her and Victor could have had a great relationship. And it didn't have to have anything to do with a green card. As for the situation with Amber, she wouldn't have been alone if she would have not accused Kelvin of being with a woman, because you seen him having a conversation with a woman. It does not mean that he was messing with that woman. You could have just walked up and figured out what the heck was going on. At the end of the day, like I said, they are just doing this because they're doing the same thing that they're used to, or what they think represents black people. Not African Americans, black people. And the sad part about it is this is something that everybody seemed to think. Last night I did a live about who people voted for. Like I said, all it is people don't want to take what comes with the choices, decisions, and the actions and the behavior that they do. And that's the sad part. So when you're talking to me and you're talking about how all these people hurt you, and then I ask you, when you met this person, did they tell you they wanted friends with benefits? Did they tell you they weren't ready for a relationship and you continue to pursue it? And you say, yeah, then that falls on you. Because as soon as that person said they weren't ready, as soon as that person said they didn't have themselves together, you should have left them where they was at. Right there, you should have just kept them as a friend, and that should have been it. It shouldn't have been you trying to upgrade them. That's not your job. That's their parents' job. A lot of y'all are doing what parents should have did when it came to raising their kids. I'm not raising nobody else's child. I got a child of my own that I got to raise. I was not going to, and trust me, I've done it. I've done it in every relationship that I was in. That I was the person that was doing the right thing. I was the one that was responsible. I was the one that was trying to build them. There are some people you just cannot build. There are some people that's going to constantly keep doing the same thing because they think eventually it's going to work out. And it ain't. There are people that are trying to grow, evolve, elevate, mature, and do all of these things, and they can't. Why? Because people won't allow them to, and because they don't fit society standards. Either way, you're screwed. It don't make a difference. And like I said, the fact that they keep, put in these situations, because eventually Amber is going to go back to Anthony unless she ends up with Dalen, which I think honestly is going to happen. Why? Because that would be a very interesting storyline. And let me explain why I say that. Dalen right now is being done dirty by Brittany yet again. Because now it's Kelvin. And then the fact that Amber is interested in Kelvin. But the problem is Amber lost her shot when she decided to bring Victor in there and went to Spain. And then not only that, the fact that she still has not told him the real reason she distanced herself. Which they should have been talked about right now. But nope. The writers forgot what they wrote and didn't bring it up. Now, when she found out that Brittany is sleeping with Kelvin, when Dalen tells Brittany that he saw Amber and Kelvin together having some type of date, boy, she gonna have a fit. But she still can't say nothing to Amber. She can't say nothing to Amber at all. Why? Because it's gonna come out. Amber knows about the fact of Nat and her daddy messing around and still has not told Brittany about that. So both of them in the wrong. Because at the end of the day, I don't care. If I'm really your friend and I know I got something heavy that you need to know, then Amber should either be pushing Nat to say something or you need to say something. And whether or not she forgive you or not, at least you said it. Because at least your conscience is clear. So even though there are times we shouldn't be involved, but if I'm going to be friends with somebody and I know something that's going to hurt you, I'm going to tell you. And if you don't speak to me no more, okay, cool. But when you find out that I'm telling the truth, you got to come back with your tail between your legs and apologize. But at least I told you. So like I said, neither one of them are each other's friend because Amber's the reason why it came out about Judy. Amber is technically the reason why that Nat and what's her name got back together. Because she said something that pissed off Samson. So yeah, if Judy and Samson would have never came to Atlanta, they would still be together now. So like I said, in the end, we need to start bringing back Nat and that situation because we need that closed. Brittany need to find out that's her stepbrother and see how that's gonna play out. But in the end, do I think Dalen and Amber might end up together? I do. I am more certain than ever that's gonna happen. Why? Because when she found out about Anthony and the fact that he still was Shayla and the fact that he was trying to play her face when it came to that counseling, and when they both find out about Kelvin and Brittany, oh, they're going to end up together. They sure is. Because, like I said, Dalen is actually a good guy, and Amber deserves somebody that's a good person. And I think Dalen will be good for her. Because at the end of the day, especially if Dalen find out that Anthony is the reason why him and Piari didn't end up together. And you know what? I would even throw another monkey wrench in this. The way that Piari was all on Dalen, I would make it so Dalen go over there and have a conversation with Piari and that him and Piari end up getting together. One way or another, there's multiple different ways you can do this particular scenario. But in the end, when Dalen find out that Anthony is not the friend that he thinks he is, when Chase find out that Anthony ain't the friend that he thinks he is, and then the fact when it comes to Shania ain't got nothing to do with it because Shania, like I said, ain't going on the trip. But when Chase lose his wife because of this, and the fact that Anthony act like he don't care, that's going to be very interesting. So like I said, at the end of the day, this is why when it comes to the things you want, and the things that what you're willing to do, that's when it becomes a problem. People will take advantage of you because of what you want and the fact of what you're willing to do to get it. And that's the problem with all of these scenarios. What people are willing to do to get what they want because you want it so bad and you willing to do anything for it. That's why people ask you, what are you willing to do to get what you want? And you say anything? Oh, trust me, they're going to test you on that. Me, my answer going to be, if I got to do something negative, it's going to be no. If it's positive, then yeah, I'll do it the right way to get what I want. But if it ain't meant for me, then I'm not going to chase after it. So if it ain't meant for me to have it at this time, then I'm okay with it because it ain't meant for me to have it. But for other people, if you can't have it, you're going to be willing to rob, steal, unalive, and do whatever. Which in terms, the consequences and repercussions and karma. And then you wonder why. Because you made a choice that you got to live with. And a choice that comes with consequences, repercussions, and karma. So that's my thoughts on these Kountry Wayne skits.